ask before we get going. Everything looks like it's going great.
Welcome to This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nail, your local experts on all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Listen in as they discuss the current state of the market, the latest trends, and have a little fun while doing it. We do want to say the opinions voiced on this podcast are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individuals.
Straight face. Here we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nail. There he is. Yeah, we got a show today, boys. We got a special guest, and we're gonna make some greatness today. Who wants to? Yeah. Snow day. That's a snow day joke.
Song called Plowed Sponge.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking Proud Mary, like Plowed Mary.
Oh shoot, let's.
Way the wrong direction. I do apologize.
Can we start this over? Trying to kill this broadcast. Kill this.
Really?
Yeah. No.
We're done here.
We're live this episode.
Yeah.
The views expressed in This Week in Real Estate do not necessarily reflect the views of any straight thinking person. Yeah.
No, we had this bit one time where we did this like once, and so it's been a little bit of a running joke off camera. Like we should just drop in song titles and song references throughout.
But I don't know that band you just said.
Sponge. You would know if you heard the song.
Did they do the song "Suck Out"? Who sucked out the feeling?
That's right now, Knoxville.
Skeezer or something, right?
I'll remember by the end of the show. Let's move on.
Okay. Got it.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. That was 90s.
That was a good song. It's definitely a one-hit wonder.
Yeah. It wasn't Weezer. It wasn't Skeezer. But it was something like that.
No.
Yeah, it was. It was a one weird word.
I'm going to look it up right now.
Suck Out was the name of the song.
Who sucked out the feeling?
If you happen to know without Bryan looking it up, please comment.
Leave it in the
It's
comments.
called Super Drag.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
15.
And the name of the song is Sucked Out.
That's what I said.
All right. Let's not get
Definitely,
copyright infringement.
definitely was a one-hit wonder.
Let's not get a copyright infringement.
I got
8 seconds, please.
You got 15.
Yeah.
15 seconds? Okay,
Well, here's the
definitely
thing. But and we're covered if it's all parody. So if I sing it, it's going to be parody.
It's satire.
You know what I mean?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
right.
please don't sue us, Super Drag. You made a great song.
Let's not confuse this show, which is called This Week in Real Estate, with The Butcher and the Band.
The Butcher. Well,
Yes,
none of us
man.
are you a musician?
In spirit, for sure.
So no. Okay. And you're a musician.
I play a little guitar.
So I guess I could enter, but I'm not a butcher, so it doesn't work.
Hey, why don't you introduce our guest?
Every now and then I butcher some song lyrics, but yeah,
I think that's the best part about music.
yeah, exactly. So I've got Tylor Gentry here. Tyler's a man of many talents, and only recently I learned that he also happens to be the twin brother of somebody that I had no idea that you guys were even related, let alone.
You couldn't tell? I mean,
No.
uncanny resemblance.
Now I can tell a little.
Yeah.
So only if you put makeup on, but
That's it, yeah.
our very favorite resident vampire, Count Drahoon, and you. So are you also several thousand years old?
I'm not. I was born a little after him.
I see.
He's
So y'all aren't twins.
it's by association. Yeah.
I see.
We
Okay.
just sound the same. So he's like, I got to latch on to somebody here. No.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Got it.
if I'm a man of many talents, he has way more. So
Useful is debatable, but anyway, a lot of fun. A lot of fun entertainment happens once a month over at Cedar Glade.
Yes, that's for sure.
with Tyler's brother. So anyway, so we're going to talk a little real estate. We're going to talk a little maintenance and those kinds of things. Tyler's got a company. What's the name of your company?
Fresh Coat Surfaces.
Fresh Coat Services does painting and staining and coats.
Anything, yeah, anything that's a surface that's paintable. We always make the joke of if you can hold it down long enough, we can probably paint it.
There you go. There you go. So driveway sealant, that kind of stuff
Yeah,
too.
stuff like that as well. Yeah,
Okay, right
absolutely.
on. So we'll talk with him a little bit about maintenance and stuff. This weather is a perfect time to talk about that. Because this kind of weather is exactly why you should have already coated all of your surfaces appropriately. So that'll be fun. I do want to talk about a seminar that I attended yesterday, and I'm typically not a guy that is susceptible to cold calling, and all of your ilk are constantly inviting realtors to, this whatever seminar put on by whoever and whatever. And typically I'm a hard no, because, most of them are yay raw. You should make more phone calls if you want to improve your business. Right. And that's about where they stop. Yeah. Right. Or some version of that. Believe in yourself and all this other BS. Not that believing in yourself is BS, but that's like their only message. Like that's their answer to everything. Yeah. Stay positive, believe in yourself, and make more phone calls.
Yeah, the old prophecy thing, what's that called?
It's the magic pill.
Yeah.
Health and wealth.
Yeah,
prosperity.
Yeah.
Prosperity.
The
prosperity gospel.
Yes.
There you go. There you go. So anyway, I typically am just an instant no, but for whatever reason, this one. It just caught me right, I guess. And so I signed up for it, and I went and listened. It was a guy named Matt Hellickson. And he has a company called, Club Wealth, which, I mean, let's be honest, Matt, that's a pretty lame name. I mean, like it just is, you make it something flashier than that. I don't know. But he's very simple, and his message was still pretty simple, but he got into the weeds a little bit on some stuff, and he started out the day talking about investments and specifically real estate investments. And man, like I know a lot of what he said, but then there were several things that I didn't know, and I definitely didn't have the full data set for it.
Yeah.
And I just got excited about it, and there was some cool stuff. And then he kind of transferred into managing a real estate business, which was a little bit more of the old same. But just the way he delivered it was really good. So it was a really good seminar.
Can you articulate anything that like stood out to you?
Yeah. So on the investment side, he really got into how much better real estate investing can be for you financially than say stock market investing.
Okay.
There's multiple benefits involved. You can leverage the asset. You can you get a tax write-off for it. You have the stepped up depreciation, or not stepped up, the bonus depreciation that Donald Trump signed into law. You've got you've got a cash flow aspect of it, and simultaneously you've got an asset growth aspect of it. Where, unless you buy just the right stocks, and even then a lot of times those dividends get paid back into the company, they get reabsorbed.
Yeah.
Rarely do you actually collect dividends, and certainly not like at the same level, 10% or whatever, or 1%, I guess, per month. So 12% a year worth of dividends. So anyway, that was one thing, and he really, like I said, he really got into the data set for that, and like showed the numbers of that. I don't have that in front of me, but he also talked about how depreciating an asset with the bonus depreciation, you could actually, like if you bought a $500,000 house to rent, you put $100,000 down, right, 20% down. You could actually depreciate the entire amount, the set depreciation, instead of over 27 and a half years, you could do it in year one, or 85% of it, I guess it was. And you actually could get a tax incentive over what you paid cash for the house. It worked out to be like $145,000.
Wow.
So it was pretty wild.
Wow.
And then he got into, you build a big enough portfolio, and you don't ever make money off of the asset itself. It always just reinvests back into the company. Yeah. So you never pay taxes on that. And then you take a loan against it, and you live off of the loan, and that's an unrealized gain. And so you never pay taxes.
Dang. That's
like, you never pay taxes.
Yeah.
And, he got into the 1031 thing along with stepped up tax basis with inheritances and things like that. So you can literally never pay capital gains tax either.
Right. Yeah. The stepped up value, when you pass away, the property goes to the value resets to your heirs the day you pass away.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
And it was good. Let me put it this way: 4 hours sitting in the room, and I didn't take my phone out one time.
wow. That's a healthy seminar.
That
Yeah.
is not a thing for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just telling you, like,
I'm on a podcast and I've
yeah.
got my phone out, man.
yeah. So,
that's awesome.
I mean, that was powerful.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was good stuff. He's got an event coming up. I'm gonna be going to that. It's in April in Nashville. So I'm gonna go try to absorb a little more.
So it wasn't a believe in yourself, like hyping you up. It
No.
was more practical, basically.
Just
yeah.
do the
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. That's
There's
yeah.
a gap in there that there's another word that fits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing I don't like. I used to be heavily invested in the mindset stuff. I still am, but it's more of like there's one missing component that no one markets, and that's like, well, you have to like do it first.
Yeah. It's the work.
That's
You
like
have to work.
the hardest
Yeah.
part, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the work.
you know,
Trying to
it's-
get that's and as a parent trying to get your
Yeah.
my children to put that together, that the
Yeah.
work pays off, and that you can have, and like I talk about all the time, like, hey, you've got a lot of potential. You know what potential means? Because all my life, I always heard people say, man, Brian, you've got so much potential. No one ever said you got to apply that principle.
Yeah,
Potential.
100%.
Otherwise, it's just going to stay potential, and you're never going to amount to anything. You're never going to accomplish anything.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody ever said that to me. And it was like, hey, Brian, you got so much potential. You know.
Well, here's the thing. I've done okay at real estate. You know,
Yeah.
I've made some money. When he breaks out his tiers of agents, right? Like first tier, second tier, third tier. I'm only on tier 2.
Yeah.
Based on his.
Really?
Yeah, as far as production goes.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been in it for 15 years.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between is sitting in the room, the lady that put the event on, she fits in his tier 6 out of 7.
Yeah.
Wow.
And super nice. Like if you met the two of us in
Yeah.
person, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Like we're the same class.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
All of that kind of stuff. Smart, funny, articulate. Fun in a conversation, but not flashy, not snobby.
Not up here.
Yeah. Normal, regular human being, right? And she's her and her team are selling 750 to 800 houses a year
Wow.
in Cookeville.
Oh wow.
In Cookeville.
Good lord.
In Cookeville.
Yeah.
Whoa. How many houses in Cookeville are selling anymore?
All of them.
Well, and obviously surrounding areas, but that's
Yeah.
where she's based out
Sure.
of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like that's wild, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
And so what's the difference between her and I? The effort that we apply.
Yeah.
Wow.
And not necessarily the amount of work,
right.
but where do you put it?
The efficiency of that work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the difference between her and I.
Kind of like the
She's not
80-20 rule.
smarter than me,
Yeah.
right? She doesn't know how to work harder than me.
Right.
She knows how to work smarter than me.
Yeah.
That's something that I valued over the last probably 6 months is I've always been busy, but being busy, working hard versus working smart, that's like
Totally
it's-
different.
It's so night and day.
Totally
Yeah.
different.
And it's slightly embarrassing, but also very affirming when you realize it. You're like, whoa, busy is a different word.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I talk all the time about the difference in busyness and business.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
One letter.
I love that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's an important,
Yeah.
100%.
what's your why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I just made that part up.
Oh
You like
my
that?
gosh, that was beautiful.
I
it's so
totally
true.
I've never heard that before. I just totally made that up on the fly.
We're like, oh my god, I gotta write that one down.
Yep. Trent, trademark that one real quick.
Hurry up, hurry
Yeah.
up. No, that's good. Man, that's very profound because there is a difference. You could make up stuff to do all day. And
Oh
just
yeah,
be
I can be
busy.
busy.
Yeah,
busy.
100%.
I used to a long time ago. I worked in a warehouse, and we had this guy, and we had to make boxes, right? So like
Yeah.
one job was making boxes, and so he'd take a pallet of flat boxes and fold
Yeah.
them, tape them,
Yeah.
make a stack of boxes. This is the busiest dude I've ever seen in my entire life, and he would get through one pallet of boxes in an 8-hour
He'd have
shift.
8 boxes done.
But I mean, he was sweating,
Yeah.
he was moving, and I'm like, how do you do that? And I'd go over there and piddle, and I'd be done with 3 pallets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't understand what. And he was just busy.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing his business,
Yeah.
but he was busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a man. I'm gonna Instagram post that.
All
I'll
right.
tag
Well,
you.
guess what? I guess we're done with this show. Hang it up, buddy.
That was awesome.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, that's true though.
No, we can't move on.
I feel like
and
we should
close
talk
the
about Tyler.
Honestly,
we
I've
can't
been
close
doing
the
this.
show until we talk about Tyler a little bit.
Yeah,
Tyler
yeah.
gets to tell a story, and we have to do This Is Real.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely have to do that. You want to do that real quick before we get into Tyler?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do that. All
Whatever
right.
takes longer, because I can't.
No, you're gonna
No,
love
I'm
this.
just
So
kidding.
turn and look at this screen over here. This is a real photograph from an MLS listing somewhere in this country.
I will preface, my wife and I are looking for a home.
This might be the one.
I've been literally looking at
The picture that
30,
Just wait.
I literally
That's
live
gonna be
my first 30 minutes and my last hour of my day.
is that the one?
Look.
It's not the one. Oh my gosh. This couldn't wait till the dog finished it.
Or just taking another picture. Is that a real dog or is it a statue? Maybe it's a statue.
Oh, if it's a statue,
What'd you do, Trent?
The screen didn't share. Here, let's try again. Sorry.
I do. I'd take that one.
Yeah, all right.
I do want to know. I know the answer, but for
That's a
sure,
real dog.
comedy purposes, that's not the kennel. Right? The black box there.
No, I
But
think that's an oven.
Roscoe, get back in there.
People make calendars out of stuff like this.
I know. That's pretty good.
And
Yeah.
the bag over there. I
Like-
hope that's not a.
Is that roof even completed?
Yeah, it's like a Spanish style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's got potential.
I mean, that could be a really nice house.
potential.
I'd love to
dude.
see the inside of it. That could be a wonderful little abode. But
Abode is
Instead, it's a commode.
Oh, you're on it today.
I am on it. Yes,
He's having this
sir.
flu game over
I
here.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna get sick more often. I'm gonna
Man,
come in here
oh,
rock and
man.
rolling. That's pretty funny. So this is on the listing.
yeah,
Like,
Supposedly.
yeah. This is
So
some real
you know what I
shots.
tell people all the time is, if they're home when we're doing photos or whatever, and they walk into the frame or whatever, I'm like, hey, if you're in the picture, you got to stay with the house.
Yeah.
oh,
That's a
man.
good one.
You convey. Does
Yeah,
the dog convey?
I mean,
Dog must convey.
Does his present convey?
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does.
yeah, we didn't
So
pick
ev-
that up for you, bought it.
Every
Sorry.
offer now, it says what in the section that says what doesn't stay. It'll be like personal property, refuse, dog.
Dog. That's funny.
All right.
Wow.
Let's move on to Tyler.
That's
Yeah,
impressive.
let's talk Tylor Gentry
Oh
for a
man.
minute. So, Tylor, I first got to know you a few years ago when we were getting ready to open Cedar Glade.
Yeah, man.
And you were doing some T-shirt design and some apparel, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So at the time, I think you were painting a little bit as well, but it seems like maybe you have kind of.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm sure I've said this to you before, but thank you. I learned a lot in my short time here. I didn't like the way it ended just because of how everything was in business at that time.
Sure.
But thank you. You gave me like a shot in a sense, and it was it was learning. That's my favorite part. But yeah, I owned a apparel brand here in town. We gained some decent success with the business. At that time, we were on like kind of a rebuild phase when we were here, and built it up to a couple $100,000 in sales. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. In the background, I was painting for a full-time job and running that as my side hustle. And then as kind of time went along, I was working for my uncle's company. He's been a painter for probably 35 years now. And I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And I was like, man, why am I working for somebody else? Like, I need to, branch out on my own, kind of do my own thing. So I started working small jobs at night on top of balancing all this other stuff, and that slowly took off into my own kind of painting company. I was just doing it by myself, and left my uncle's company, and then reached a point to where I was so busy with painting, the clothing was starting to take off more than it ever has, and I had to just choose. And the clothing was just something I knew about and had learned so much about, but I knew more about painting just because I had been doing it for probably 10 years at that time.
Well, and the other thing, like in this particular geographic area,
Yeah.
you're never going to be short on jobs.
No, yeah.
Always.
It showed me that. I mean, I live in the Berkshire community in Blackman, and first 3 months, I didn't leave my neighborhood. I mean, I was like, it was a different job every day or a different job every couple of days, and I just stayed in that community.
Well, and I personally, I hate painting. I hate everything about it. I hate the smell. I hate holding a brush. I hate that I always end up with paint more on me than on the
It's
wall
part of
and
it,
on the
yeah.
carpet and everything else. I'm not good at it. I don't enjoy it. It is not relaxing. My wife loves it.
Really?
And she loves cutting in, and she's really really good at it.
Same. Yeah.
You don't like it either?
No, but my wife is really good at it, and she
Really?
she can
She's-
cut
Does she
in.
need a job?
Doesn't even need she doesn't need
Both of
tape.
them?
Crazy.
No.
She's so good. She
Yeah.
pushes the paint instead of dragging it. And
Yeah.
I don't know how she does it, but she's really good at it.
Yeah.
And
I used to be that way, man.
but she doesn't have to tape it, and she can get a perfect straight line.
That's-
like it's insane.
That's awesome.
And
My hands shake too much.
oh,
I
yeah,
can't-
me too.
Too much caffeine.
Yeah, probably.
same.
And so anyway, so for me, it's a no brainer. I'm
Yeah.
always going to hire somebody to do the painting.
Yeah.
Right. It takes too long. Like everything about, I hate moving the furniture out of the way. Like
Covering
everything
it,
about
yeah.
painting, I hate.
Yeah.
You know, I can't really say that strong enough. I don't know if you guys.
I want to reiterate.
Yeah.
I hate it. Yeah. I honestly, I hated it when I was working for my uncle. I got same thing on my hands, in my hair, and I used to be a little bit
Was
prettier.
that a ball joke?
No, it
Okay.
wasn't. I'm actually sensitive about it. I'm never mind. But,
Dust the hat. Are you thinning?
yeah, it's
Just give it up, bro.
She's moving south. I'm gonna be honest. You know, I got
So
Right,
I digress a little bit. You know, this is a 4-head, right? And then you've got an 8-head and
Yeah.
12-head.
I'm working on-
I'm like a 16.
Yeah, I'm about 6.5 right now, so
Yeah.
I got to figure it out. Bosley? No, I'm just kidding. But I used to hate it, man. I used to be prettier back then. God bless you. I used to be prettier back then, and I cared about my hair gel, and like I hated it. But I've grown. I love the way the Lord works because He just slowed me down enough to like put a headphone in, paint.
Yeah. Made you a little
slow-
uglier.
Yeah, it just slowed me down. I was always wanting everything, you know, doing 15 million things at once.
Mm-hmm.
And when I would hold a brush or roll or whatever, it was like, oh, this is actually like, I get it now. I get it why. Now, again, I'm working, I have a crew that is far better at painting than I am. So I don't hold the brush as much as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very therapeutic, I will say.
No.
It's,
No.
it's a therapy session gone wrong in your house.
Yeah. No, like if Lisi's painting, I don't even stay in the room. Like I leave. I hate it. I hate it. Hate
That's
it.
funny.
Have I mentioned that I don't like it? But anyway.
Well, thank you, because that, I mean, helps guys like us.
That's exactly right. Worth every penny
Yeah.
for a good painter.
That's funny.
So, what are you focusing on now? I mean, are you doing more new construction stuff? Are you doing?
So it's mainly repaints. A lot of our specialty, I mean, we're about 75% residential repaints. The unfortunate side to new construction, number one, is it's a volume game. There's a lot of folks that like to undercut and do it for super cheap.
Sure.
And I'd like to get into that space. It's just one of those long-term plays versus right now. And I want to break into that because the quality of paint sucks. You get a lot of these new construction homes that, you know, it's a $600,000 house and they're putting contractor grade flat on everything. And
It's just so they can touch it up.
yeah, exactly. And actually, over time, in about a year, you can't touch it up because it'll flash because it's a different color.
Yeah,
When the
yeah.
paint settles, it just looks like
No,
two
they're only
different
worried
colors.
about the blue tape walkthrough.
They are.
That's it.
As soon as they're done, they're done. And I hate that for the painters of our industry because it just kind of gives us a little bit of a bad rap, you know.
Well, you know, a lot of the new construction, I don't know if you're aware of this, but a lot of the new construction now, so nail pops is always a big thing, right?
Huge,
So
especially here.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's-
About month 10, you submit a list of nail pops. I'd say probably half of the new construction builders now, they will fix the nail pops, but they won't paint.
They won't paint it. Wow.
Really?
And it's so common. Like
Because it's flat paint
Yeah.
and it's
And you can't touch
and
it
like
up.
you said, if
Yeah.
it's had sun on it at all, it's going to be faded.
It's almost like the blue tape walkthrough is the end, and then it's
Yeah.
like downhill from there. You know, and again, I understand from a business perspective, like it's turnkey.
Sure.
you're getting in and running them out, but that's kind of my goal with this. Why I wanted to get into this was put a little professionalism to the trade, and enhance these projects because I guarantee you somebody spending anywhere from $400,000 to $600,000 on a house would gladly spend $2,000 extra to get good paint to where you don't have to repaint for 5 years.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the new construction repaints that we're going into now, the house is, like you said, it's 10 months in and they're already repainting because it looks horrible.
Yeah, every fingerprint shows.
Everything. Especially if you have
every time you move the couch.
Yeah, if you have kids, like I feel bad.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Gosh.
I painted.
Staircases are the worst.
It's terrible. I painted my house last year with great, you know, eggshell finish paint, and I told him like, don't touch the walls. Like my dad was a stickler on that when I was a kid, and now I am with my kids. It's hilarious. But first day I walked in, and daughter's running through the house, and I'm like, hey,
What are you doing?
Don't touch the walls.
What are you doing here?
We just see that lovely sofa over there. Don't touch that.
yeah, like you can jump on anything in this house. Don't touch the walls. But yeah, it's a problem that I see, and again, I'm grateful for it because I have a job. Because
sure.
you know, I get to give a premium product, but it would be cool to nip that at the source.
Yeah.
And change it a little bit. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what besides painting interior walls,
Yeah.
what other services do
So
you
we
guys do?
mainly service all interior, exterior. Anything inside. We dabble in kitchen cabinets. The
Cabinets
problem
are a funny thing.
they're very meticulous, especially to do them right. We kind of got away from those for a little while just because in order to do them right, in my opinion, you need a shop to take things, spray the doors, do it right. So that's something that's kind of on the back burner until we grow into that point. But as of right now, it's anything inside, anything outside. So exterior surfaces like concretes or, garage floors, things like that.
So you do the epoxy floors with the little scattering.
With the scattering, all that. We've done solid and we've done the flakes. Fun.
What about the marbly looking stuff?
That is a different style of epoxy. It's not something I've done recently. Crazy enough, the specialty side of the business, we've done countertops that I've
wow.
done that with. Take those like old Formica countertops and can make them look like granite for 50% or more less than getting all brand new countertops because
Right.
it's expensive. So that was a cool like specialty deal that we've done a couple times. That marbly it's awesome. It's a little bit more intensive when it comes to labor and things like that. Just 'cause there's
more
a specialty.
specialty.
Yeah. Haven't broken into those yet, but yeah, concrete coatings.
Decks.
Do
you do the deck over stuff?
I don't.
Ugh.
I don't. That stuff
What is deck over?
All right.
that-
So it's like paste.
It's rhino liner.
Yeah.
Basically that you try to paint on. Yeah.
It's awesome if you've got like, okay, look, I need to get this deck ready, but really I should probably replace 3 of these 35 boards. The other boards are a little bit on the edge. So you might replace a couple of boards because like they're literally broken, but then it doesn't match. So you use a deck over, and it's to your point. It's basically rhino. It's paste.
It's crazy.
It's thick.
And it doesn't like if you put it on a deck, you have to replace your deck if you want it to look different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's your Hail Mary. It's your last thing before you rebuild.
There's so many other products that are 10 times better than that. Even with board replacement, you could go from staining them to putting a semi-solid product on it that kind of brings it more to life, that looks more uniform versus, the old school way is the semi-solid or the semi-transparent, which is beautiful, but sometimes you can't achieve it if all the boards look different. If it's an exterior, it's going to, the weather's going to have fun with it. So.
Yeah. Especially
But
here.
we do a lot of those decks, a lot of vinyl siding, a lot of hardy board sidings, a lot of those homes as of late for sure.
So you do paint vinyl?
Anything you can hold down long enough, buddy, we can paint.
Interesting. Interesting. Painting vinyl, it's a fairly newer thing.
Over the last probably, I'd say about 5 to 7 years, we've really picked up in about the last 3 years. Just anything. We use a UV safe paint, that way it doesn't warp, because that's the problem. A lot of people are going darker colors. It's pretty popular. So putting straight black on vinyl siding, it can warp or buckle, bend,
pull
break,
apart,
whatever. So using a good UV safe product, it helps it and it transforms. I mean, it's my favorite part about the job is the transformation thing. You could have something like this, and literally a fresh coat of paint would change your whole
Make it look
outlook on
brand
how
new.
It looks good. Yeah.
Let's talk maintenance for a minute, because most people, when they think about paint, they think about the aesthetic of it, right?
Yeah.
This wall looks like crap, so let's paint it, and that makes sense, right? I'd say that's
Want a different
probably
color. Want to freshen it up. make it
exactly
look different.
Yeah, I saw this in Better Homes and Gardens, whatever. Yeah, this is
Pinterest.
yeah. This
it.
is the whoever painted it, paint color of the year,
Yeah.
whatever, right? But especially on the exterior, there is a lot more to the value of the paint than just the aesthetic. I mean, the aesthetic's important, of course, but let's talk that for a few minutes.
Maintenance, as far as what's the best way to keep it to where you don't have to paint it all the time?
That, and then just like, okay, this is how you know it's time. So I just, for example, I live in a house right now. It's one of my rental houses. It was built in 1920. It's a wood-sided house.
Yeah.
and so it's cedar siding. And it's been painted 100 million times.
Yeah, definitely.
The coat of paint on it, or the
super thick.
The paint is thicker than the wood at this point. You know what I mean?
It's probably just paint.
Yeah, it's probably just paint. That's right. The wood's probably all rotted out from underneath there.
That's awesome.
But like right now, if you walk around my house, there's a few cracks in the paint. There's a few areas where the paint's starting to lift up a little bit. There's some bubbles, and you can even see all the way to the wood on it in a couple of spots. So what am I putting myself at risk for?
Honestly, once it starts to chip or crack or break, it's time. I always tell people with exteriors, a recommendation is, just general upkeep. You want to pressure wash it at least once a year, a good wash to keep things off of it, the
mildews
or things like that, because that's what eats away at your paint. We unfortunately live in the most settling place, I feel like, ever.
Rocks and trees and mold and
all that. So
moisture.
The cracks come from the settling as well. And that's something, caulking and scraping and priming and things like that. Just for general maintenance to kind of keep that at bay for a while. If it's getting several areas of bubbling and chipping and things like that, it's probably time for a good pressure wash and a good scrape in those crazy trouble areas and putting a really good, primer and paint over the top of it. And it'd probably be ready to stand up for another 5 to 10 years.
You talk about settling out. That also happens on the inside of a house too, because you can have, like our home, we know that there's a little bit of settling that's taken place, and we feel like it's stopped, but we still have the same spots where cracks in our
Stress
drywall
cracks,
show
like
up,
that.
and so talk about how you kind of remedy those things.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like I said, it's so weird. I mean, we service Middle Tennessee. I've been as far up as Clarksville, and it's the biggest problem I feel like ever. It's nail pops and stress cracks and tape joints kind of falling out and stuff like that. Really, if it's loose enough, in places where there is drywall taping, if it's loose where you can almost kind of peel it off like tape, it's time to rip it out and replace it.
Yeah.
Little bit of a strenuous process. It's messy. It's drywall. It's just kind of part of it.
Yeah.
Typically, if it's not loose, it's one of those doctoring to where you can kind of mud over it, keep it, centered for a while and kind of maintain it for a while. I hate saying this as a painter, but like, it's one of those things I don't think you can avoid it. I've never seen a house that doesn't have a stress crack or nail pop or trim kind of separating from the wall, things like that. It's just,
once it's remudded or patched, is it normal for those to come back, or should that kind of take care of it?
Over time, it's always going. Like I said, it's the settling in the area. It's just kind of one of those things, especially if you live near blasting or kind of things that increase the chances.
Yeah,
we all live on limestone. I mean, it
that
shifts,
too.
it moves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's just it's unstable, I guess would be the right word.
It moves.
Yeah. They tend to come back. You get usually after a good done properly, you get another, I'd say 3 to 5 years out of it before it starts to come back again.
Yeah.
It could change.
Yeah.
I've been told, and there's different kinds of cracks, right? So when we're walking through a house and looking at a house, if you got a door frame and coming off of the corner, you've got this kind of crack, or if over the middle of the door, you've got a straight up crack. The straight up is probably where 2 pieces of drywall meet.
Yeah.
And then the other one is what you would call a stress crack.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so a lot of times what I've seen people do is they'll cut like on that stress crack, instead of just mudding it, especially if it's real narrow, they'll cut like an inch on either side of it out and then patch a new piece in so that the place where it's actually cracking has a solid piece on there.
Gives it a different leverage point, basically. Yeah. Interesting. A lot of different... Again, it goes back to kind of the new construction, but when most homes are built, they're built pretty quickly.
Right.
So where they're not as methodical on where to put the drywall seams or where to put the leverage of weight, distribution, things like that.
So you have a lot of drywall seams over doors.
Yeah, that's why you have that. Exactly.
And windows.
Yeah.
And they don't dry the wood. So if they framed it in the...
Any moisture behind it's pushing its way out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
a big part of it.
It is, and they're easier fixes. You know, you get into the weeds of it. You know, if it's tape, things like that. Those are not hard fixes, but they're just a little bit more labor intensive versus
you gotta wait for stuff to dry, come back and do a second coat,
and the mess aspect. Like, you typically can't cut out 6 inches of tape. You usually have to retape the entire
whatever that seam
however
is.
long that stretch is, to do it properly. But the stress cracks, things like that, you can dig them out, cut here and there, and get a lot more out of it for sure.
Well, very good. Let's give social media. Do you have a website?
Fresh Coat
how do people...
Surfaces everywhere on social. I have
Fresh Coat Surfaces.
Fresh Coat Surfaces is how I say it, because service is dangerous.
Surfaces with an S at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook. We're on a lot of the Nextdoor app. I can't remember the Neighborly. Getting onto that one as well. I have a YouTube vlog that I've been kind of documenting the whole journey starting this year, which is kind of interesting. Getting back into content creation, it's not my favorite thing. It used to be, and I did it so much that I was like, I don't think I'll ever do it again. Now I'm doing it again, and I'm like, oh man,
that sounds about right, doesn't it, Bryan?
Yeah,
I love the memes and there's a good one it's an old Seinfeld episode, and it's Jerry Seinfeld and George. They're sitting there at the table, at the diner, going, "What are we doing here?" And it's like, real estate professionals in their 40s trying to figure out how to become TikTok stars. Right?
Dude,
what are we even doing here?
We don't do TikTok. I haven't. I'm trying to fly the flag of just not getting on there, just because it's.
Oh, you look good dancing while you paint.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy funny things. Like, we have a lot of cool stuff planned. Like, we're gonna do kind of like The Office and do on the paint job and just kind of make it funny. We're actually doing a video with Taylor. Having him come in as vampire painting. It's going to be hilarious.
Outstanding.
Yeah,
you
little
should paint
stuff.
his coffin for him.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
it's funny. I have I just started the script a couple days ago, but he's got face paint, and we're gonna have a portion of the vlog to where it's like, dude, you got paint all over you, and he goes to the mirror and he has no reflection because he's a vampire. So it's like, we'll have a call every other day talking about it. It's
what else would be fun is 9,000 shades of white on the vampire. So when he does the white, just be like, so are you more of a bone white or
is
more
this
of
alabaster or that would be hilarious.
A nice dove gray might work.
We just trying to change up a bit, man. Just modernize it. Yeah, that's genius. Oh my god.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
But it's just I enjoy that content, so making that content's fun. But the feeling of having to do it, that's where that comes from, in my opinion. I'm who wants to listen to a 31-year-old painter? On
31-year-old.
I know.
Oh, Lord.
I'm an old soul, all right.
Whatever.
But it's the same thing. You're like, what am I gonna post on TikTok that's gonna make somebody stop and I don't like the feel that I have to kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the new outlook is let's just do fun stuff, and if people watch it, cool. If they don't,
all 7 people are gonna laugh. It's
yeah,
gonna be great.
exactly. Yeah. Oh, 13 views this week. Awesome.
Yes. We're up 100% from last week.
Yeah. So I've learned to not die with the I gotta get views, get views, because it's an animal, man. And you got 19-year-old kids out here making billions of dollars on a small dance, and you're over here man, I've been building a business for 15 years. Kind of makes you a little upset. But no, anything on social, the YouTube is just my personal name, and we're just trying to do it a little bit different. I think that's the fun part.
Well, very good, Bryan. What else you got?
Got some stress cracks you need to fix.
Got some stress cracks you need to fix. Yeah, we're gonna remember you for sure. And it's funny you say that though, because it's probably been we noticed that those cracks came back. It had probably been 3 or 4 years after the painting had been done when we saw them come back. So that checks. That means that we didn't hire a bad person last time. Doesn't mean we're gonna hire that person again. Because now I know you.
But still, if they do a good job, I said, that's the cool part about and I'm sure you guys experience this too with real estate. I'm not the only good painter. I'm not the only good, there's plenty of people that I would recommend.
I think we're blessed in this community. We have a lot of good lenders. We have a lot of good realtors. We have a lot of good title companies.
Exactly.
There's some ones out there that aren't as great. And we don't like to name names, but
I do.
We do have enough. We do have enough competency and really, really good people in our community that whether you're teaming up with me or Jonathan, you can find and somebody in this community that's going to do a great job for you. We hope that it's us.
I mean, that's the point. That's the whole point.
Unless you're not a good client.
Yeah, then don't call.
I mean, let's just call it like it is. You know,
I'll take anybody, man.
That's why we get in it, man. We want to help people. Like that's the whole, kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, hey, if I can't service you properly, I know at least 3 guys that could at least, hopefully get you to that point. And if not, it goes back to what you just said. Like maybe you're just not a good client.
You're not helpable.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know we.
It's not us. It's you.
It's more you.
Yeah.
I'll say this for the mortgage world. I think there's been some rumblings of like homes in pre-foreclosure are higher, delinquencies are higher. I wouldn't read too much into that and thinking that we're heading towards another like great recession with the foreclosure crisis. Gets back to the same thing we've talked about for a long time. There's plenty of equity in homes. If you are struggling, and also lenders and servicers want to work with people more now than they ever have before. So if you see something on social media that scares you to think, oh my gosh, do we have a bubble that's about to pop in real estate because we might have a boom in foreclosures? Again, something we say all the time: check the source, read other sides, and just analyze it. Like, what does this really mean? If we're at the highest level since before COVID, okay, well, where were we before COVID? Was anybody really worried about a foreclosure boom?
Exactly,
COVID?
And then
not really. So
if they're at a highest level since COVID, well, at COVID it was let's say it was, and I don't know exactly, but let's say it was 3.8%. Whatever loans were in foreclosure, and now we're at 4.2%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Healthy place, right?
Yeah. Still pretty darn healthy.
I do have really a 2 question because I'm so invested in it right now. The first question, I mean, interest rates. Obviously, that's like the hottest topic going right now. They'll drop, right?
Someday,
yeah.
They're not getting back down to 3s and 4s.
Right? I always say this. We bought our home in 2013. Okay, and now that was 5 years.
Times, right?
That was a really good time to buy a house. That was 5 years after the 08, the foreclosure crisis and the Great Recession.
and the true bottom of the market was 10.
Yeah.
So it was on the come up, but it didn't.
Just
nothing
barely.
Crazy.
In 2013, the
really
rate that we
flat
got
still.
on
interesting.
Our rate was 3.625.
I would literally kill someone. For that.
People, so I think a lot of people think, oh man, we only got in the 3s during COVID. No. That was an FHA loan that we had in 2013. It was that started with a 3. So we had been there before COVID. We had gone up before that, and in 2018, I think it was, we kissed like 5% on rates.
Really?
And then the market had a strong reaction to that. Yeah. And I remember in 2018, a lot of us in the business were like, really slow. This is a tough time in the business. And then in 2019, because everything started to kind of slow down, rates trickled back into the 4s, in the low 4s, and then all gloves came off and everything went out the window in 2020.
Yeah.
So will we get back to the 3s? I'm not going to say we never will, but I think it's going to be quite a while, and there'll be some pain in the market that leads us there.
Yeah.
So we always have to think about it from a standpoint of what drives interest rates, and it's really investors' dollars when it comes to mortgages. It's not so much where the Fed's setting prime as it is where are people. Does it make more sense as an investor for me to buy bonds or mortgage-backed securities? There needs to be some concern in equities, because that's the other thing investors are buying is equities, mutual funds, individual stocks.
Right.
And so when you see movement in equities, like if there's concern about the economy, money will leave the stock market in equities, and it'll flow towards bonds, which a lot of bonds are backed by mortgage-backed securities.
Correct.
So that's when you'll start to see, I think, and more liquidity. When the Federal Reserve is saying, "Hey, we'll buy every mortgage that you guys can write,"
interesting,
rates are going to be low.
Yeah.
And right now,
Because that's how you write more loans.
Right now, you need for that to happen, you need we just need more people for rates to really move back to that kind of 2% mean on the 10-year Treasury. We need more people buying mortgages, and that has to happen in the market.
Well, and the big thing is, remember, always be careful what you wish for. So if you're sitting here going, man, I really wish we could get a 3.25 interest rate. Well, everything that has to happen in order for us to get to a 3.25, that
Crazy.
3.25 is going to be irrelevant to you, most likely.
That makes sense.
Yeah, there's a good chance you might be unable to take advantage of it
Yeah.
because you might not have
A job.
Yeah,
to
that's a
prove
good
your
point.
ability to repay.
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
And it's going to be interesting to watch. I mean, we've talked about how many times have we talked about how the unemployment number came out and moved mortgage rates. Well, what's happened in the last month?
Yeah.
And the last 2-3 weeks, we've had a lot of people become unemployed very quickly.
A lot of layoffs announced.
It's crazy.
All over the place.
Shutdowns, all
And
kinds of
it's
stuff,
not
yeah.
necessarily just with the federal government, but it's so I mean, it's going to be an interesting second half of this year if it doesn't start sooner than that, to see what starts to happen with this economy. I think it's going to be with tariffs, which are inflationary, and then at the same time that you have the inflationary talk of tariffs, you have massive layoffs in the federal government workspace and also just in the private sector. Man, like, where are we going with this? Where's this
I'm
gonna
not
go?
sure. And here's the other thing is I don't know that we ever should go back to a 3
Get
point
back
whatever
down that
interest
low.
rate.
Right.
Yeah.
Like from a healthy economy,
Yeah,
healthy
yeah.
growth standpoint. Here, I have a 15-year note on my house, and it is below 2.
Wow.
I have a 1.875. I caught it at just the right time because of this
Wow.
guy, and I should not have that.
Yeah, that's one of
Do you know
those
what I'm
like,
saying?
holy.
Like
yeah.
that shouldn't have been a thing,
Yeah.
but it was,
Interesting.
and I capitalized on it. And it played a factor. I'll just tell you, we thought about putting my house on the market. We did put my house on the market. And when it came down to actually accepting an offer, that played a
big part of your
part
decision.
of the
Huge
decision.
factor, I'm
It's like,
sure,
how do
yeah.
I give up
Yeah.
essentially free money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to jump ship on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
My second question, my wife and I, go ahead, sorry. Oh, I thought you were saying something. My wife and I kind of combat each other. I'm obviously a painter. I'm a good renovator, if you will. We're looking for a home. Would putting yourself in my shoes, would you buy a move-in ready at where we're at with interest rates, all that good stuff, or would you buy something you invest some money in and flip it eventually?
I'm always going to go with the second option if I have the cash to do the invest money.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Just because
that's my
return,
personal-
just because of return.
Yeah.
Or are you talking about something that you would buy and you would live in it and
Live in it
for a couple of years?
5 to
Yeah.
3 to 5,
At
5 to
least
7.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you're I think I have a friend who's moving to the area, and with him it was like, hey, he's looking at these new construction houses and he's looking at these fixer uppers, older homes that were built in like the 90s that aren't dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
They're very livable.
Potential.
But you can replace some light fixtures, might
Right.
freshen it up a little
Right,
bit. You know,
right.
and I was like, well, how do you want to spend your time? And like knowing you want to spend your time on the weekends watching ball games. You want to spend your time on weekends hanging out with your friends, going on trips,
Not having a honey-do list that's this long.
Now, if you are like a homebody and you love DIY projects and that's what you enjoy, then go that. So I think the answer to your question is dependent on how you enjoy spending your time.
Yeah.
And now you're good at doing this stuff, but do you do it all week? Do you want to break from it, or do you want to come home and do it on your house?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Those are the things I'd be
That's
asking
the
myself.
things that I'm weighing now because
Yeah.
it's like from putting my investor hat on, it's like no brainer.
Right.
I would definitely go in low,
Yeah.
fix it up because I know what looks good enough
Right.
to put a couple $100,000 on the bottom line. But I always go back to like
Right.
I paint every day. The last thing I want to do is come home and
Yeah.
rip off crown molding and
Yeah.
Yeah.
patch drywall, do those things. But again,
You always take care of yourself last.
Yeah,
But if it's something that you can do over time and you don't feel like, oh, it's got to be ready, within the first year we own the home.
right.
And you've got a 5-6 year horizon, and you know that over time you can make it your own and update it with current trends. You have to answer that question for yourself.
Yeah, interesting. That's
I would always go to.
option 2.
That's just me.
That's what we did. That house that we got in 2013, man, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was very
And just
rough.
over time.
In fact, I'll tell you a paint story. The laundry room was so bad, and it's a tiny little room. We decided we were painting the whole house,
Yeah.
and so we decided we wanted the laundry to look different, so we went to like Home Depot or Lowe's and we got a can of Oops paint, and they had just enough in a gallon of this Oops paint for us to come in and paint this like ugly burnt orange in our laundry room. Well, stack the laundry, the washing machine in the dryer, and it makes it really hard to paint in that room now without pulling all that stuff out.
Yeah,
well, 2 weeks
definitely.
ago, our washer and dryer that we moved into that house with in 2013. So these are old units.
Yeah,
They finally needed to be replaced. And my wife is in there painting on the fly because she's like, they're bringing the
gotta be
new
done.
ones.
Yeah.
They're bringing the new ones on Thursday. We got this week to get this
Wow.
room painted.
And I
she's in
don't
there-
want burnt orange ever again.
She's in
Never
there,
doing it
she's in there
again, yeah.
painting
No
it.
Texas.
And I went to the paint
That's
store
fun.
and I was like, I said, we want one coat.
Yeah, whatever
We're
that
painting
is.
over a dark, and he's like, well, then this is the paint you need. Then we got the top of the line paint.
Yeah,
you know, and
that's
he's like,
awesome.
it's like
That's funny.
it says guaranteed one coat. I tell you, you probably need two. I think we did one coat. It looks pretty
Really?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good,
And you won't paint it again until that washer and dryer craps out or you leave.
Or you sell it. Yeah.
That's funny.
We also put tile in. And here's a pro tip. We got a pro tip, Trent.
Nice.
You don't have to play the music under the thing. There's a pro tip. My father-in-law is very handy, and my wife loves it when he helps us with projects because I'm learning things, and she just takes some pride in her father's work. And he used to have a job where he put in tile, and so again, it's a small little laundry room. She's like, hey, we're gonna do the tile. We're gonna put tile in here. It's like, all right, let's do it. And so, gosh, it was miserable. And he's over there and he's doing it. He's helping me, and we get done. And my wife's got this big smile on her face, and she's looking. She's like, it looks good. I'm like, yeah, but there's this one spot where the tile, it meets the hardwood. I'm not happy with it to this day. And she's like, did you learn anything with my father? And I was like, yeah, I learned I never want to lay tile again.
Never laying
This
tile
is-
ever.
Yeah, never
I'll
again.
Never.
The-
If times
the
get
last-
tough, I'll go to McDonald's.
The last time that I put tile in, it was about this cold outside, and it was at my mom and dad's house. And somehow I got voted to be the cut guy with the wet saw outside.
Man,
course you did.
man. You'll never lay tile again.
It was miserable.
Yeah.
That's
My
crazy.
hand, I couldn't wear gloves.
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
just don't function well with gloves.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to be able to feel what I'm doing.
Yeah.
and so I had little cuts all over myself from the little tile shards. It was cheap tile, so it was
Yeah.
it would flake off
You
and
could
everything.
break it. Yeah.
Miserable,
I don't.
miserable job.
I'm not a tile guy. That's why.
I still would rather lay tile than paint, though.
Really?
I'd paint all day long.
Yeah, I was
laying
gonna say.
tile, so, leave.
That's how much I hate painting. If I haven't mentioned that,
You've said it. You've said it once.
Pro tip.
Pro tip: don't lay tile.
If
or
there
paint.
was a pro tip in there, it was don't lay tile. And if you hate painting, hire somebody else.
good show. Hey, Cedar Glade, we got a big weekend Saturday, or big day Saturday. It's going to warm up finally. The roads are going to be fine.
Yeah.
So just plan on being here. Stretching with Tess at 10 o'clock. Heart of Vinyl from 11 to 6. So come in and buy your vintage vinyl.
There's so many good. I love just looking through his collections.
Justin does such a good job, and they're all in good shape, and he is very transparent. Like he just really does a good job. And then 1 to 4, we've got the chili cook-off. So it is $10 to enter. It is free to taste and vote.
As
for the winner.
supplies last, right?
As supplies last, yeah. So free to taste and vote. And then from 2 to 5, we've got a Girl Scout troop that's going to be here selling cookies. And 4 to 5, some of our bar staff, Robert and Sydney and Kayla, are going to lead a Girl Scout cookie and beer pairing.
That's so cool.
Oh my God! So
It's
get
gonna
filled
be-
with
it's gonna
chili.
be awesome.
Get your dessert,
Yep.
and have a beer.
It's going to be
Pair that
incredible.
dessert. With,
I mean, yeah.
with the-
I
with
mean,
the-
and
gonna
yeah,
be
pair it
incredible.
with. That's good.
So just go ahead, bring the kids, get a babysitter, whatever. Just plan to be here all day.
And super kid friendly, if I may add. My daughter was eating her grilled cheese just sitting on the table last time
Yeah.
we were here. And
Sitting
it was
on the
cute.
table.
No, in the chair.
Oh, okay.
dog friendly too.
yeah. It's a fantastic spot to be. That's awesome. Well, thank y'all, man.
That's
This
it.
was great. This was
Tylor
cool.
Gentry, check him out one more time.
Fresh Coat Surfaces, and freshcoatsurfaces.com.
Okay, well, there you go.
Facebook, Instagram, website.
Love it.
Good stuff.
Now go throw up. I'm just kidding. Don't. Hold it together. You did great.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were sick.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for listening to another episode of This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nail, your go-to resource for all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We will see y'all on the next one.
Now for the nitty-gritty. Premise Mortgage Company is a subsidiary of Premise Bank, a member FDIC. Premise Mortgage NMLS number 1894879, BK number 1042893, ML number 1894879. As always, all loans are subject to credit approval and product guidelines. Equal housing lender.